emergency from Vitamin Shop. The final protein bar, free David is there. Sort of a new-ish and unknown-ish protein bar, except for people online have been testing it. Like on YouTube, they do a taste test of new products. But otherwise, I haven't seen a lot of advertising about it. Although, because I just said this, just you watch, you know, there'll be advertisements on YouTube for David protein bar. It's got a gold wrapper, and I guess it seems a little something because they actually named the protein bar David. So buff people would think of David from Michelangelo, like from I forget the whole artist thing with statues and all that. Da Vinci. Anyway, there's a statue called David, and I guess maybe, you know. Interestingly, though, there are 3 Davids that happen to be sort of one step away, you know, or similar within my family-ish. I have a stepbrother named David. I have a sister whose boyfriend, whom she lives with, is named David. I think he just broke his femur, had an incident the other night, so he is recovering from like a weird accident, being clipped by a car or something. So, and because he was with, like, walking a dog or whatever, their dog is looking for the dog. But anyway, the 3rd David is, I'm talking lowly because I'm just sort of saying this without, you know, talking to my sister first. So the 3rd David would be a cousin of mine who was my aunt's, or is my aunt's son, although my aunt passed away. So he's older enough, you know, that we weren't really close to our cousins in Florida, even though our grandmother was down there. My mom, sister, and I sort of were left alone and abandoned-ish, you know, standing alone in Delaware in the early 70s, late 60s, because a whole bunch of things happened at once. Our aunt and her family moved to Florida during the late 60s, I believe, right, maybe before 1970. And within the first couple years, you know, 1970, 71, 72, my grandmother and grandfather moved down there. So my mom, sister, and I, you know, would be without them within close proximity. Everybody was up in Delaware or New Jersey, you know, all in this area. And then our grandfather passed away 3 weeks after they moved down there. And my mom wound up in a divorce with our dad, who was, you know, had sort of taken up a friendship, quote unquote, with the woman of who was also married up the street. Somehow they decided they were a better match. So my mom, and then of course with my sister and I, were left standing there without grandparents, without an aunt and uncle who would have been closer to us, you know, the 2 cousins on my, you know, aunt's side or maternal side, and then a dad who left for, you know, someone up the street. So in a way, it's quite sad. So this other David is a cousin who grew up in West Palm Beach, or North Palm. Same thing to me, it's not that big of an area. And we have a lot of haze or cloudiness today. It rained yesterday a little bit. It's got a misty feeling today. So David, you know, we didn't really have a close bond. I'm also a lot younger. So somehow, you know, he's like probably 15 years older than me. I think his brother is 10 years older than me. So that's quite a distance. You know, I lived with my mom and aunt for 2.5 years in an attempt to kind of start over or have a new life in Florida out of desperation because of something that happened here that kept me very trapped. Some lawyers would say human trafficked in a modern way, with the amount of harassment and torture I endured, and it is at prisoner of war level, and I'm trying to be nice about something that's so bad. And no one can imagine that. Oh, Sharon, no one can imagine. Like, it's hard for people to imagine that someone could be enduring something that's so bad and can't be proven, and no one really knows that they're supposed to, like, help good people who wind up in a very weird situation. Like, they just assume things will work out, or I'm not sure how people see it. So anyway, point being, you know, when my mom passed away first during the pandemic from natural causes. My dad passed away because of coronavirus, but he was living with another, you know, his second wife of many years in more southern Florida, Tampa area. And anyway, and then my aunt passed away. So, and my cousins desperately needed to ransack and sell the house. It was really my aunt's house because my mom moved in with her after my aunt's husband passed away, and it became a mutual thing of trying to stay alive, you know, financially. But these two men, quote unquote, needed to sell the house. So I was out on my ass like a bad person,